Well, I could hum a few bars. Maybe I'll have to go back in later and put the audio in. Hey, I'm Tom Sinclair, the Streaming Idiot, coming to you on Streaming Idiots today. We are really excited about today's show. Still working with that opening problem. We've glitched ourselves. I won't blame it on somebody else. It was me. What can I say? But today we're going to be talking about vMix and the new MIDI support that vMix 16 has. We did a little bit on that last week, but we've got a few more things to kind of show you on that this week. And we'll also talk about shortcuts, which is really kind of the basis for the MIDI control. But before we do, the concept behind this show, and some days I struggle with it, the concept behind this show is that one guy with one PC can really do an awesome broadcast. It takes practice. It takes the right hardware. You can't just get any old Dell from Best Buy and expect it to do what you're doing, because you're really going to stress the PC. I had somebody call me the other day, and they wanted to build a PC. They wanted to buy a PC, and they could they use something from whatever that's to Best Buy, and could they run Norton, and could they run this, and could they run that? And I was like, dude, you're taking the family station wagon and you're showing up for a NASCAR race. It's not going to work. If you have any hope of having that work, you're going to have to strip out everything that's not essential. Out come the seats, out comes the air conditioning, out comes the stereo, out comes the power seats, down to bare bones. I mean, you want a PC that does nothing but stream. It's like an NARH, is that it? NHRA, not National Hot Rod Association. Like a dragster. It's just what you need to go fast. That's all you want in your streamer. Somebody was fussing at me the other day. Well, don't you need virus protection? You can put virus protection on there if you want to, but it's going to slow everything down. And if it slows it down only 5%, well, 5% can be the difference between really being successful and suddenly having some audio glitches. A year or two ago, we were having some some little glitches in the audio, and we found out it's because we were going above 75% on that particular PC. That was too much, and so we were apparently dropping a frame, and it showed up in the audio with a click. So do whatever you can to make your PC streamlined so that you can get as much power, CPU power, available for processing as possible. Somebody said, well, if I put 32 gigs of RAM in there, it'll be okay. Well, RAM is not the same as CPU. RAM's good, and fast RAM's better, but it's not a substitute for CPU. Well, what if I put in a solid-state drive instead of a hard drive? Now you're talking about storage. Storage is not the same as CPU. It'll help. It will make things run faster, I think. That's why we do solid-state drives in all our systems. But it's not the same as offloading stuff that you don't need, so your CPU doesn't have to handle it, doesn't have to deal with it. Anyway, sorry, got on my little high horse there for a second. So if you're building a PC, strip it down. If you're not, if you want a custom streaming PC and you can't build one yourself, or you don't feel confident, or you don't want to buy an off-the-shelf, call me, text me, send me an email, tom@streamingidiots.com or easternshorebroadcasting.com. That's what we do. We've got two on the build bench right now. They're identical. They're going to be little screamers. They're putting a 4-port, what did I think we were going? SDI. Yeah, 4-port SDI capture card in there from Magewell that is just really sweet and fast and good-looking color. And they're going to be great. They're going to have 4 channels instant replay, and it's going to be fun. It's going to be fun. Anyway, so sorry, got way off track there. Way off track. Well, part of that was to say, I am an authorized reseller for vMix and VidBlaster, and we do have all sorts of cool products in our store. PTZ cams, which I'm using right now, I'll show you as part of our demo in just a minute, are one of the latest additions. We've got the Magewell card line. We've got the Tally Lights from Tally Lights LLC. And then, of course, the custom streaming PCs. So if we can help you with any of that, it's a lot of fun, and we'd be happy to. Okay, now let's dig into the subject of the day. This is going to be fun. We are talking about, come on, get up there, buddy. There we go. Controlling vMix. Oops, let me get that little guy out of the way. Controlling vMix, the vMix TBar with a MIDI controller. Now the TBar is the sideways TBar in vMix. Normally it goes up horizontal, it goes up vertically, but in vMix it's a side to side, left to right TBar. And we're going to use one of the sliders here on this Korg NanoKontrol to do it. Now this is the old version of the Korg NanoKontrol. The new version works pretty much the same way. And so far as vMix is concerned, a MIDI device is a MIDI device. Doesn't really matter a whole lot. And I could be wrong, so you might have to correct me on that if that is indeed the case. What we want to do is, let's get to it, is program through the shortcuts in vMix this little slider right here to operate like a TBar, so that when we slide it from one position to the other position, it's going to take what's ever in preview and put it in program. And then when we move it back the other way, it's going to take whatever's in preview and put it in program. So up or down, doesn't matter. They both work the same way. So we're going to leave it down for this moment. So let's go. This next shot is sort of a convoluted shot. And pay no attention to what's in the top left corner for the moment. But the bottom right corner you can see is the Korg keyboard. The top left corner is just a screen capture, and I've done it like that so I can show you how we're going to capture or show you the information that you want to do in shortcuts. So we're going to go to the shortcuts, which is in the bottom right-hand corner of vMix, and it's going to pop up what our current shortcuts are. We've got 4 different shortcuts right now, and actually we're going to look at this same look in just a minute, but for right now we're interested in the edit button here in the bottom right-hand corner. We're going to go to edit, and that's going to give us the ability to look at our shortcut menu. Now we could go, I'm going to cancel out of this, we could go to the same place by going up to settings and then going into shortcuts. Is a different way of getting to the same place. So we've got shortcuts there. You can see I've got a few shortcuts already set up, and we're not going to talk about those right this minute because we're going to add a new shortcut. So I'm going to click the Add button. And the shortcut is what's going to be controlling the API in vMix. So it's kind of halfway API, halfway macros, halfway shortcuts. That's one and a half halves. Okay, never mind. Forget my math. So this is the Add Shortcut menu, and in the top right-hand corner you see the word Find. That's what you're going to want to use for MIDI. Now we can look at the key controls right here, and these are all the keys on your keyboard that, and depending on what keyboard you've got, there's some special ones down here, but we're not going to get into that at all today. We'll wait on another day on that one. We want the Find button right here. So the Find button is going to pop up another window and says press a button on the keyboard or the controller. Well, it'll work with your regular keyboard, but in this case we're going to use our MIDI controller, and we're going to use this little button down here. So let's slide it up, and as we move it, you see the window changes. And it's MIDI control change, channel 1, note 56, and then velocity. The velocity will go from 0 all the way down at the bottom to 127 at the top. Well, I know this because I've done it, and I don't know why it works, but we want to set it at about 64, which is right in the middle. 61, 62, 63, 64. There we go. And we're going to click OK. And now we have to tell vMix, what do we want to control with this? Well, we want to control one of the functions, and we're going to go to the All tab, and then I just happen to know because I looked around and finally found it. It's not because I'm a genius. I'm just persistent. If we use the set fader command, that will control the TBar in vMix. So we'll select Set Fader, and you see where it says Set Master Fader TBar 255 will cut to preview. Not sure what that means. We're not going to pay any attention to with it, but it does tell us we're in the right place. So we'll say OK, and then we'll see that our shortcut has been added for the MIDI control channel 1, number 56, and so we'll say OK. Now, if we use this control, we can make it go from preview to program. From preview to program. It is literally that simple. So if I put up another very interesting shot in preview, now it'll bring me in as part of the show. But if you don't like me, we can just go all the way back to where we were before. So that's pretty simple. Let's run through that again, just because we want to make sure that everybody's got it. I am going to record something similar to this and put it up on YouTube. So if you missed it, you can get it again later. But let's go into shortcuts, and let's just delete the one we put there so it's not going to confuse anything. So we're deleting that shortcut. And we want to go to Add, and we want to go to Key Control Find, and we want to use our control right here. Yep, and we want to set it for 64. There we go. 64. We want to go to the Function tab, and we've got all these choices for function, and I'm sure it's listed under one of these other functions somewhere, the Set Fader function. But you notice if we go to the audio function, it talks about mostly audio things. If you go to the output function, it talks about different things you can start. Overlay functions talks about the overlays, etc., etc., etc. But we are interested in finding Set Fader. This is the entire list right here. Set Fader is right there. So we're going to select Set Fader and then click OK and OK again. So now when we operate this button, and the very first time you operate it, it's a little hinky, but once you get it all set, it'll go back and forth just beautifully. So that's it. And the fact that this keyboard appears in both pictures is just coincidental, of course. I can see the guys in the chat. They're off chatting about something else. Who knows what they're talking about? Holy cow. They just can't pay attention. They're the ones that sat on the back row in school. They're probably judges now. Anyway, okay. So that's how we set up the TBar in vMix on a MIDI controller. Now you can use all sorts of MIDI controllers. I used this one because I had it sitting here. If we were going to use anything else with a slider, in fact, I wonder if it would work with with one of the knobs. Let's try it. Let's try it with a knob and see if it'll work with one of the knobs. Okay, this is uncharted territory here, so bear with me for just a moment. Let's go back to our split screen, and we're going to go to Shortcuts, Edit. We're going to delete this Set Fader there because we don't want to confuse anybody. All right, and now we're going to go to Add. We're going to go to Find, and we're going to use the knob, the control knob here, and it goes from 0 to 127, so let's set it on 64 also. It seems to be sort of the sweet spot, and let's see if that'll work. We'll go to Function, All, Set Fader is what we're looking for. Set Fader. So we'll say OK, and then OK. So now we're going to see, will this knob work? Yep. The knob will work, and we can go over and back just by turning the knob. all sorts of effects. So the knob has the same effect as the slider. Pretty cool stuff. Pretty cool stuff. All right, so let's go back to that shot, and it's literally that simple. Now I say I say that simple because it took me a while to find it. I mean, the key was to find the right shortcut command. And if you go into the menu system in vMix, which is, if you do a search in vMix, the search is not, if you use the search function in the vMix help menus, it's not always helpful because the titles of the articles, in fact, there are a lot of duplicate titles. So if you're looking for shortcuts, for example, you might find 3 or 4 pages that are entitled shortcuts. So that somebody says they're having problems with the chat today. Sorry about that. That's no good. So let's try something else. Let's try something else. Let's see if we can control some audio with a slider in vMix. So let's go back to our split shot and see if we can't, we'll use that control right there to send us back there. Yep. So we'll go to shortcuts, we'll go to edit, let's add, and we're going to find, and let's just use this, well, let's use this next one just to stay out of the way. So we're looking for volume here. So we're going to use that one. We'll go to the audio tab, and we want to set volume. Okay, what do we want to set volume on? I think we may have gone through this list last week because it sure does look familiar. We're going to set volume on, let's find some audio that we can set volume on. Hold on, we'll find it. There we go. That's something that has audio in it. So if we tell that to start, let's see where we can find it. There it is right there. And let's see, let's turn it up. Now it would be really nice if we could also control and make it start and stop. And it just so happens that I've done that already. So let's see if we can do that over here. That should be rewind, start, pause, rewind, start. And let's just rewind. And those are keys that I've already programmed. Let's go in, there we go. Restart, play pause, and set volume. And what we did just a second ago was set volume, so we'll go ahead and take that one out. And we'll remove that one right there. There we go. Okay. So let's see if there are questions. Do you just set up macros with that Korg? Well, in vMix they're called shortcuts. That's from William. They are called shortcuts, and you basically go and find the shortcut that's kind of predefined as a macro function. And we're getting some other comments in the chat room. We're not going to pay any attention to those. You just never know what these guys will come up with next. Let me show you one other thing because we're about out of time. But there's a cool part of shortcuts called the web controller. And let me blip back to this for just a second. What are we going to use our knob to go back? There we go. There we go. We use our knob to go back. And so we're going to go to shortcuts. And you see right here that the shortcuts are the shortcuts that we just had. So we can let's see, we can play pause. We can, I don't know if we can set volume. No, probably, but we can probably play pause. We'll turn up the volume here. So we can start it, we can restart it, we can play pause. Pause, restart. Don't know how the volume part works, but let's don't worry about that. Let's go to web controller here for just a second. Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to do that. Let's go to settings. And one of our settings is web controller. And this gives you a website address that you can put into your browser from another PC or device that's on the same network. Okay? So just for grins, I have put that into my phone. And let's bring the phone in to the picture if we can. And we can see that there is the same basic setup. Play pause. Reset. And that's just with my phone. I can do the same thing with my tab. I can do the same thing with any device that will connect to the internet, and to be, well, actually anything that's on my same network. I don't even need to be hooked to the internet. I just need to be on a network. The same network that my streaming PC is on. Let's see, do I have an option here? I wonder if set fader will allow me to do anything here. I think some of the things that have the variable controls don't work as well. Yeah. That one doesn't work, but you can do a hard cut. You can do a hard cut in this. You can do all sorts of things, but anything that requires a variable, whoa, anything that requires a variable rate is not going to work with those. So this is a simple MIDI control. I think the Korg NanoKontrol 2 sells for about $60 US, so it's not expensive, and it has lots of really, I think, cool possibilities for it. They are available on Amazon, eBay, Newegg. You probably can go to Musician's Friend or Guitar Center, maybe even, and find them because they're used a lot with music editing. So that's a pretty neat option, I think. And I think one of the beautiful things is you don't even have to have a controller. Everybody's got a phone, and if you can control vMix with your phone, again, you've got to have the right shortcuts set up. Let's see if we can go back there. You got to have the right shortcuts set up, but once you do, you can control it. So that's it. That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool stuff. Sorry that we ran over on our time today. I try to respect your time because I appreciate you taking time out of your schedule to come hang out with me. And so I want to be a good steward of your time in that sense. So recapping real quickly, we took a very simple MIDI control that you can get for a couple of nice dinners. Well, maybe one nice dinner where you live, but where I live, there would be a couple of nice dinners. Yeah, I mean, 4 lattes and you've bought this thing, and you can do all sorts of controls with it. One of the things that's going to be fun to do is to figure out how to do some other things with it. vMix is taking this concept and running it to the next level. That is, they have certain controls that they are going to have templates for that will already be preset, so you won't have to go in and set them up. For example, this control, the Shuttle Pro version 2 from Contour, is already preset by vMix to work with the replay system. And I saw that they have a Novation launch control, I think, that has a template. And vMix just announced just showed off last week that they were, there we go, that's the one I was looking for, that they have got all sorts of other MIDI devices that they're playing in. So my guess is they're going to start developing templates for all of them. So it's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be a lot of fun to see this kind of stuff come into action. And, you can have your own MIDI control for free if you've got a phone or a tablet or even a PC. Be interested to see what happens with that. So that's it. That's a wrap. I hope you enjoyed the show. Thanks for tuning in. Holler to me if I can give you some advice or counsel, or if you need something that I've got, I'd be happy to help you get it. See you next week. Yeah, that's what it'll be. See you next week. Thanks for tuning in. Let's see if we can't get this show closed to work. We're going to give it a try. So let's get it queued up right here, and we'll transition to it and see if maybe we can't get the music to work right. So here we go. No music, so you'll just have to get me humming. Dun 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 dun. See you later.